Happy Thursday, the best day of the week. We're here, tuned in. It's gonna be a goodie. What's going on? What's up? I see you. I see you. What's going on? Appreciate y'all for tuning in. It's gonna be a goodie. I can't wait to learn some good things about Baltimore. Young Deuce, what's happening? Mr. Charles, I see you. The champ is here. We see him. Coming in hot, Al. There he is.
What's up, brother?
What's going on, man? How you?
I'm good. Can't complain, bro.
Man,
Chilling.
that's good. That's good, man. How they treating you down there?
Good, good. No complaints, man. You know, same old, same old.
Okay, okay. Had you in the trenches today, or you got to take it easy?
Nah, I worked all day.
Okay, okay. You
Yeah,
you wish that's what they say entrepreneur life is right?
yeah. I enjoy it though. You know, I enjoy it. I enjoy
Right.
the hard.
The only way you could function at this point, right? You're like you sitting
Right.
around too long. It's like yo, something ain't right.
Exactly. I'll be home. I'll be bored. Yeah, I get bored. I get bored, man. Gotta be working.
Okay. All right. You working on anything decent right now?
A couple of projects, man. You know, the new construction I've been posting. Um, it's probably the most interesting thing. It's my first time doing it, so I'm just learning a lot, a lot.
Okay.
You know, and doing an apartment building. My first time doing an apartment building, so I'm
How
learning
many units?
too. Four.
Okay.
Yeah,
So all before that, you was doing all single families.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So interesting. Yeah, I'm about to start on a project. It's going to be two. It's going to be two apartments and two commercial units. So it'll be my first time working on commercial. So this year will be the first for all three of those things actually.
Okay. But the commercial that building is it in like it's on a commercial corridor or like it's like just in a regular neighborhood kind of thing?
Yeah, so it's more like a commercial street. Um,
Okay.
it has two residential upstairs with the two commercial in the front.
Okay. So that thing gonna be nice.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do with the commercial side of it yet, but you know, it's just gonna be interesting, just doing the work.
Right. Because that's a whole nother permit process dealing with the commercial stuff.
Yeah, I just started the permit on it. I submitted the drawings, and I'm gonna be working with the county to try to figure out exactly what I need to do to be different from what I'm typically doing. You know?
Okay. All
Yeah,
right, well, that's definitely what's up, man. I definitely wish you
yeah,
nothing but luck with that, and that's just dope to see you. Like I said, I've been watching you for a minute,
fun,
so
man.
seeing you progress from couple houses to all right, I'm doing a lot of houses to now you even still growing. How long you been in the game?
I started 10 years ago.
Okay, so 10 years in, and look, you're still evolving and
Yeah.
progressing.
Yeah, it's a process. It's a process for sure.
Right. So I mean, talk about that though. I mean, like from starting out, like what made you want to get into? Well, first let me back up real quick because we just jumped in. For those of you who don't know, this is our rehab houses, Baltimore's finest. Been killing it. The big homie Alex. He been teaching us, through the social media. Like before Instagram was popping, Facebook. He was giving us
Yeah,
gems.
Facebook. Yeah,
Yup, yup. I remember you when Mark was doing y'all thing. You
yeah,
know,
Facebook. Yeah.
right? Mark had dropped that book. What is it called?
Uh,
Flip houses like your hair is on fire.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was almost like what 5, 6 years ago.
Wow, man. I was just looking. I was telling Mark the other day. I saw a picture when me and him went to Atlanta back. It was like 7 years ago. He called.
Okay.
Oh man, why don't you go ahead and do a bus tour with me? I'm like, I don't know nothing about this. But he been pushing me for all this time to just do, to do more and help people. And I get it. It's, like sometimes, like the other day I was out at the gym, I ran like two people and it's like, oh man, I follow you on Instagram, you motivate me. And I was like, dang, like
You like, I'm just doing what I do every day, but now, like, it's like you said, it's, you just never know how you impact other
Yeah,
people.
exactly. That's the thing. I'll be in my own little world. You know? I don't even think, I'm like, damn, you follow Instagram, you know, I inspire. That's dope.
Now, but that's the cool thing about you, that you're genuinely doing it. So even when you do reach out and help, you're not like, yo, buy my course, I ain't talking to you. Like, nah, you like, yo, I'm a regular dude trying to feed my
Yeah,
family.
yeah,
And I'm
exactly.
I'm gonna show y'all along the way. If I can help you, I help you. But you
Right.
know, well, you know how it is. You can't help everybody.
Yeah, exactly, man. It's just trying to figure out a way to try to help people that want to get going, but at the same time, keep my stuff going too. The hard part, you know, it's hard to do both, but I'm working on it.
All right. Well, we definitely salute and appreciate you even taking your time to join us tonight. But with that said, I mean, what made you get started? Like, what was that first house like? Like, how did that even come about? From that first house to now, 10 years in, and you know, you sky's the limit right now.
So what happened is like, I don't know. All right, so this back in college, probably, I don't know, like early 2000s. Um, I was working for a friend of mine. He was working with another guy, day labor. So one day we out. He's like, "Yo, you want to take a ride with me to West Baltimore?" I'm like, "Cool." So we go to like not so good part of West Baltimore. We go in through the basement, come upstairs, and the house was crazy. I had never in my life seen anything like it. I'm like, "Yo, like this is crazy." Like I'm like, I want to learn how to do this. I want to work with y'all. I want to learn. So they hired me as a day laborer, $50 a day, middle of the summertime. I'm like, man, but I wasn't really learning. Like my job was just like, move this drywall from here to there, clean up the house, I mean, like all the like labor intensive stuff, but I wasn't really getting a hands-on experience. And so what happened is I worked with them through that first project. And when that first project was over, like not long after that, my friend had came to me, same guy with a house. He's like, yo, we can buy this house. It was on in West Baltimore on Division Street. He's like, we can pay $5,000 for it. I'll do the work. All you gotta do is like put up the money for materials. So I'm like, all right, sounds good. So him and I bought the house. It's set for maybe like 4 months, and I was getting impatient. I'm like, yo, like, when you gonna get to the house? And he's like, I'm gonna get to it, I'm gonna get to it, I'm gonna get to it. He just never did it. So I was like, look, I'm gonna find somebody and I'm gonna just do it. Like, just put up some money or whatever. So another buddy of mine had he told me, he was like, yo, I know this contractor, he do good work or whatever. Talk to him, he could do the house for you. He heard me complaining about the other one. That's what I was doing. So he's like, yo, I know somebody. So this is my first, this is out the gate. So it was like my first real lesson. So what the dude told me, I met him. He was like, look, go look at this house. Go look at this house. Go look at this house. So he gave me like 3 addresses or 2 addresses.
Okay.
He's like, you can't get inside the houses. He's like, because they already done it on the mark. He's like, but just look through the door and you can see the work. So I look through the door. I'm like, damn, these houses look good. I'm like, he do good work. So I hired a dude. And I mean, I didn't know anything. I had only worked on one property with them. So only thing I knew was like from the contract perspective. So I know about like schedules and all this other stuff, kind of like, kind of like checks and balances in the work. So he pretty much was like, all right, man, I need like 5,000, get stuff, give him 5,000. He starts doing like, I don't even know. Like I might go in the house, it might be like one cabinet there in the kitchen, a base cabinet with a sink. Like maybe put a window or 2 and then he'll be like, all right, he came to me, he's like, I need a drawer. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I gave him more money. And it was the same thing. Like pretty much he was just taking my money. He was getting high. They was having a good time. And what eventually happened actually is like my friend who I went into the project with, after I think we were about 10,000 into it, one day he came past and he was like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, the dude, I'm like, what? And he's like, he pretty much like, the guy's not doing no work. So he shut the job down. He put everybody out. And that we ended up sitting on the house for maybe like a year or 2. It just sat there vacant. And eventually we sold it. We got back some of our money, lost a little bit of money. But it was at that point that like, all right, I gotta do this a little different. So then
Okay.
I like the second time I took a little more time finding a general contractor, and it went really well. And then that kind of like process, but
So when you got in there though, like you said, you just was trusting. Like he talked a good game. He said, "Yo, go look at my work."
yeah, he
Oh,
got.
you know, that could have been he could have been the day laborer at the job site.
I don't even think he did it. It was all in his neighborhood, so he probably just did his own due diligence and went around and did the same thing he told me to do. And he was just like, "Here, take this address, take this address.
Right.
Go look
Pick
in the,
which one you like.
He was like, go look in the window, and this is the work I did." And I'm like, all right, sounds good,
Right.
but like, I just really, I was impatient, and that's one thing. It's like a lot of times when we feel like we have an opportunity, we can become impatient, and we don't want to do like the work that it takes in order to really,
Set yourself up.
in order to really be able to like prepare for the opportunity. It's just like the opportunity comes and we just want to take it. And then once we had the house, I'm like, all right, I just want to get to working on it. And I really should have known a little better, but I didn't, because like the way that I had learned from them, they pretty much did the work. Like my friend, he still does the work. He loves doing the work. He's like, I don't know why you stopped doing the work. You were pretty good, man. I was like, I was a day laborer. Like I wasn't good. I just carried things around. But
right.
He actually loves doing the work. And so it was just different for him than it was for me.
Right. But I would say the difference for you, and I kind of navigate to how you move now. You could do one house at a time or with you and a couple friends, but if you're the person doing the delegate, and now you can find multiple people to do 2-3 houses at a time, so you can scale a lot.
Yeah, I don't don't get me wrong, it's nothing wrong. Like if you know how to do work, obviously you can save money doing the work. The only downside to that is that you'll always be able to do it cheaper than everybody else. And so like even now, like occasionally my friend will try to sub out projects, but it's difficult for him because he feels like he can efficiently do the
work,
the things that he's paying other people to do, and he's always going to be able to do it cheaper than he can hire somebody to do it.
Right.
So it's kind of like you can get stuck in that place. It's like me as a GC. Like for me to hire a GC is something that I don't really fit often because I know how to do it myself.
Okay.
So it's like just trying to find that balance in order to continue like scale and grow your business while also, relinquishing a little bit at a time so that you can grow.
Right. We talked about that on a live with somebody else about building that team. So
Yeah.
even if just say you want to go on vacation, the work don't stop because you got other people in place.
Yeah. And that's the hard part. That's the part of like trying to find the balance as far as the GC portion of it. If you hire GC, I guess, you hire the right person and things still move. But
right. It took me a minute. And I got burnt bad on like my first 2 flips.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I'm happy that what happened to me. Like like when I say that, I was fortunate. I lost, at most, like I said, we put up $10,000 a piece to pay $5,000 for the house, and it was well worth the lesson because it never happened again. You know what I mean? Like I would rather that than like a house I'm doing in a higher neighborhood that I'm paying like $150 for the shell or something, and then the work never gets done. I'm just sitting on a house that's not worth it anymore. And it's like, so we took a loss on that one, but I'd rather take it out the gate. Like, and that's where I feel like I've been kind of fortunate. A lot of losses I take just early on, like right out the gate. When I'm trying something new, if I'm going to lose a lot, then it happens then. So I'm glad it happened because it made me like a lot more. It made me a lot more concerned when it comes to like hiring people and taking their word for it, and just doing my own due diligence.
Right.
When it comes to like contractors and stuff like that.
I got you. So from the gate, like, was your goal to be a flipper, to be a landlord? Like, what was your goal?
See, I like flipping. And the reason is because it's what I'm most passionate about. It's just what I enjoy the most. I just enjoy the process of like starting with something here, like, and taking it to that point. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I started flipping. That's like what I was kind of like what I had begun with, like under my friend. And when I started doing on my own, like first hard money loans and stuff like that, they always for fix and flip.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but my lender actually, a few years ago, he was like, man, he actually made his money through buy and hold. And it's funny, like when I met him through another real estate guy. And he pretty much, he was like, man, I just want to meet like somebody who's young and I want to help them like become wealthy ultimately is what his goal was. That's what he wanted to do. And so him and I would have meetings periodically and just sit down and talk. And his thing was just that, that's how he made his money. He was like, man, I started in the 80s and he was always buy and hold. So he's like, man,
Okay.
you going to want to do buy. So he was funding like my fix and flips. And what happened is he was like, man, I was thinking, we just buy stuff together, because like the thing for me would be like, I didn't really want to take money that I'm using to fix and flip and put it into rentals. It just seemed like it didn't really make sense to me at the time. And so I wouldn't do that. And he was like, why don't we just buy rentals together? He's like, so that's what we started doing. We started just buying rentals together. And
So
I'm starting to buy rentals too.
okay, so y'all got now y'all started as a relationship, then formed a partnership. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like, but now your money man is helping you build that real estate portfolio, and he's also sharing or mentoring you, just doing like being a landlord and all of that. But he don't really have no complaints because he know you know how to keep the buildings up to par.
Yeah. So we started off, like I said, we started off him lending me on a few properties to fix and sell. And then like over a course of, I guess, a few years, like we nurtured that relationship. And then, at some point he came to me with the idea of buying rentals.
Okay,
So he still has a lot. I mean, I don't know. He has a lot of rentals though.
I
Probably,
got you.
but like where him and I buy is like not where he's already buying. So it wasn't, it wasn't the conflict there.
Right,
Um,
right.
and then, yeah, so him and I started buying rentals together. And, so now, I mean, he lends me on some. We'll keep some as rentals. We just had two properties that we were going to keep as rentals. But when all this COVID stuff started happening, we decided to sell them. So we kept those two.
Well, it's not a bad time to sell now. Everything on the market right now is flying.
Yeah, everything is good right now. And we didn't think it would be a good time to have rentals. So we just sold them, but it was a good time to sell. Um, and then him and I doing that commercial building I'm doing, the property he's had for years, and it caught fire, and it was
Okay.
sitting. So him and I are gonna do that and just keep it as a rental. And yeah, I mean it's been good, man. It's been a good relationship.
That's dope, man. So now I guess, how would you even like come up with that idea or just the courage to go from, a couple houses here, a couple houses there? Because now you said you're doing new construction, and I didn't know. Like whenever I see Baltimore, they just show you, the parts that look like The Wire.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
and then I see some other people posting, y'all got some nice pockets over there that look like the
yeah,
suburbs,
yeah. It's
but
true.
they not like as costly as like the suburbs we know, like 300, 400,000. But y'all
Yeah,
still getting good numbers for it. So I mean, like, where's the new construction? What part of Baltimore is that?
that's like Baltimore County, so it's like right outside of the city.
Okay.
Um, and actually, like the guy who I'm working with now is the one who kind of encouraged me to kind of just grow. So for a while, so like after I got through that bad project that I did, when the guy took the money, I fell back. I just started working. I had like a moving and hauling business. I just hauled trash for like small contractors for a while. I did like demolition, like not big jobs, like kitchens, bathrooms, things
Mm-hmm.
like that. Like a lot of my contractors worked for, they did like homeowner work.
Right.
So I did that for a while. Like I traded my car in for a pickup truck. It was a
Okay.
Me and my aunt, she helped me get it. We like driving home. I didn't know how to drive a stick. Like it took us like 2 hours to get home. But I was determined. I'm like, I was in college. I'm gonna start this business. Printed up some flyers, went to Home Depot, put on people's windshields.
Nah,
And
that's major. Like I don't think
yeah,
people
literally,
understand
I
like
just went out there
like
every
the
morning.
sacrifice.
I printed out flyers at home, put on people's windshields, and you know, that kind of got me started in that part of it. And I was doing some work, like some contracting work, saving money, saving money, saving money. One day I'm riding to 7-Eleven. I see a sign for an auction. I had already talked to a hard money lender maybe like 2 times. And I called his daughter, and because I couldn't find him, I called his daughter. I'm like, hey, I'm at
Come
this.
up the seller.
No, the hard money lender.
Oh,
So
okay,
I'm
okay.
riding to 7-Eleven. I see a house up for auction. I had saved up maybe like 20,000 or so. I was like, I called his daughter. I'm like, hey, I see this house up for auction. I want to put an offer in. And she was like, okay, like you can go up to whatever. It was like this amount, like 70. I think I ended up paying like 72.
Okay.
But I literally was just riding to the store, and I went to the auction that was going on there. Like, you want to bid? I'm like, yeah. So I ended up winning the house for 72. I didn't know it was a buyer's premium of 10%. So I ended up paying more than that. But it was good though, because what ended up happening is like the second contract I had he was a good contractor. So he got out quick. And what happened with that is the guy who I borrowed the money from, I was maybe 24. So I was young. It was like my second house. But he was like, damn, like, he was like, man, you got in there and got out. So then he was like, this was around 2009 or so. This is like 2009. Yeah, 2009, 2010. So he's like, I got a few houses that I'm taking back from people. Like, do you want to do them? And we'll figure out what I'm into them for, and we'll split the profit. And that was like my first introduction to this idea that like I could use my like sweat equity and I could partner with people and split the profit. So it was like, even though I paid for the property, I mean, I still made a little bit of money, but it was good because it started that relationship. And that was like the first person, like him and I partnered on a few houses he had. And then I found like a couple and we worked together. And then I was like, oh, this is like a thing. And
So
then,
nah, that's dope. And another thing I don't know if people caught in there was you knew like yo, the prices you was to say the price that he was either charging you or you was paying was higher than you really wanted, but you was willing for the entry fee to pay the premium, and now you basically make the phone call and get what you need when you want it.
yeah, I mean, all of this is like relationship based. You know what I mean? That's why. I mean, I get it. It's dollars and cents too, but at the same time, it's relationship based.
Right, but at the same, so it is definitely like dollars and cents, but at the same for like the people that's trying to get started and figure it out. Like when I talk to because I'm a realtor as well, so I talk to people and they like, well, the fees is this, and the hard money person paying me this, and I got to put this. I said, whoa, it's your first deal, or it's your second deal. You don't have a track record yet.
Yeah.
You got to pay something to get going. And
Yeah.
then the fact that like, yo, you're a repeat customer, it'll get better over time.
Yeah. And so for me, I will say that one of the most important things in this business that I didn't know when I started, but just by God's will, like it just happened this way. Like I just happened to align with people who like the lenders that I learned a lot from. Like I didn't know it back then. Like let's just say somebody starting out. I would say number one, if you borrow from somebody who you feel like you can have a relationship with. Like I've been fortunate, pretty much, aside from one lender who I only borrow from on property. Every lender I've ever borrowed from once, like I prefer to borrow for people like have been in the business, they made money in real estate, and part of their purpose is or passion is just like mentoring, you know. So like my first lender, I just bumped into him. I don't know. I was looking for a hard money lender, and I was passed along, and I just landed on him, you know. But I could borrow money from him, but when I go to the office, he'll sit and talk to me for an hour. He's gonna ask if I'm gonna go to lunch. He's gonna talk to me when we go to lunch. Or like my that I borrowed from on construction. I haven't borrowed him recently because I was working with my guy who I do rentals with,
Mm-hmm.
but he'll still call me like, "Hey, Alex, should we have lunch? Like now I'm doing this new construction." He's like, "Send me pictures, man." Like he talks me through it. If I'm having problems, he explains it to me. Like I had like some questions, and you know he got like his people who helped him because his background was new construction. He did
Okay.
30 years. So, you know, when I have an issue with new construction, he'll get me on the phone or get somebody who can help me. So it's like, I mean, I look at rates. Rates are important. I'm not saying that, but if it comes down to like I pay a little bit more for the relationship on the, you know, in the long term, I'll do it.
Right,
Even
but you
I
know.
have a property that I have two houses that I'm buying in a couple of weeks. I borrowed money from this guy like I don't know. It's been years. It's probably been 4 or 5 years. But like him and I keep in contact. He lent me on one property, and I was like, man, when you retire, like let me know, because he has some houses in my area that he got like 20 years ago for like nothing. You know. But oddly enough, like I said, I've only bought from him once, and he called me and he's like, hey Alex, you told me call you when I'm retired. He's like, I'm about that time. So
Uh-oh.
two houses that he has, and like the deal that he wants to do with me, it's like a no brainer for me. Like
Okay.
it's you know, it's like the numbers work, but the structure of it is like I'm not going to charge you hard money. You know, I'm not going to charge you much interest. Only pay on the money I'm lending you to do it. Like I'll give you money to get started. All this, and him and I have only done one deal. You know, so it's just like I don't know. Like it's just my personal preference, but I just say that like those relationships are like I'm not going to say far exceed. Like I'm not going to pay extremely
You're
beyond.
not gonna let nobody take advantage, right?
Right. But at the same time, I'm going to look for the relationships that are more beneficial aside from just the financial. And like you find people who've been in the business for a while, they actually want to see you grow. Like that, you know, like one of my hard money lenders, when I first sat down with him, he's like, yeah, my goal was to see you go from hard money to just like borrowing from a bank. You know, that's not something that people typically tell you. They want you to be hard money forever.
Right.
But I mean, he sticks to it. Like if I call him about a bank, he'll be like, "Here's the bank. Here's the president. Tell him I gave you a number. Or here's whoever. You know, tell him I gave you his number and see what he can do for you." And I just think those are the kind of people you want to, you know, align yourself.
Align yourself with, right? Nah, but that's definitely dope, man. That's definitely dope. Because I sometimes I struggle with that because I feel like I have some good people in my corner.
Yeah,
But like you said, it's that itch to like, yo, I want to be here,
yeah,
but I'm still putting a couple pieces together.
yeah. And I that's how everybody feels. Like I feel that way today. I don't think that we ever feel that way. Like, we don't feel that way. You know what I mean? Like I think it's just natural. It's like as human beings, we always, I don't know. For me, I always feel like I should be further than what I am. Somebody else would be like, man, he came a long way, but I'd be like, shit, I should be here. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I guess that's just what keeps us motivated, keeps us going.
To keep doing
Like,
more, right?
yeah.
So you got kids, got family?
I have a daughter.
Okay, congratulations, dad, girl, dad.
Yeah, special, man.
Right. You teaching her the business too?
So my daughter's, I don't know, like I don't talk about a ton, but she has special needs. She has autism. She's
Okay.
So I'm teaching my nephew some, but my daughter, I just, you know, that's like we just hang a lot. That's it.
Y'all enjoy your time. Understandable.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
So
But I mean, that's even more motivation to be, in position per se, because you want to make sure she got everything she needs.
Yeah, but I think that also she makes me understand now that like I'm okay with like balance. You know what I mean? Like I want to work a lot, but at the same time, like spending time with her is important.
It's more important, right?
Yeah, so it's like for me, I mean, I want to do a bunch of houses, but at the same time, it's kind of like not at her expense, not at the expense of our relationship. So
exactly.
I think I want to do more with the same amount of time, or I stay at where I'm at because I'm not gonna give up my, like my time with her.
Right, so. Right. Nah, so that's dope. So that's why, like, for me now, like, I also been trying to align myself with other dads and people like with that same situation. Because
Yeah.
sometimes like you need somebody to pull you back in because you get caught up chasing your goals or
Dude.
and there's nothing wrong with that for people that's doing it. But at the same token, it's like I do feel like no, like you said, like at the end of the day, if this all go up in smoke, like good, bad, or indifferent, I still want to be known as a dad at the end of the day and a good dad.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is I had a moment. I don't know what year it was. Like, I can't remember the exact year, but I've had good years. I've had bad years. I've had real bad years, so I've experienced them all. But it was one year in particular, business was going real good. I was busy and it was Christmas time. And I remember I was like, man, like I had been through some bad years, like when, when I got, like my first house was 2009 and it sold, but then it was like the recession years and, going through a divorce with her mom and, just going through a downtime in my business. Like literally, like when her mom and I split, I was living on my friend's couch for a while. And it took me a while to even just be able to get back up to like a 1-bedroom apartment.
Okay.
And so it was like Christmases and things that I couldn't really give my daughter much. Like her mom was pretty much doing, most of it.
Right.
I remember it was one Christmas that I was doing like pretty good. Like I had the money and all that, everything was fine. But I just remember being so stressed about work that I just really didn't enjoy it. And I think it was like at that moment that I pretty much realized, all right, you need some kind of balance. Like, clearly you doing well alone is not enough. Like you gotta find some kind of way. And like my daughter, like I said, she's nonverbal, but like she's crazy about me. Like she's so happy every time she sees me. And so, work is stressful. So I just realized that like it's unfair for me to take on so much that I'm not happy with my time with her. Like I can't be upset that she's happy and want to be all up under it. I'm like, give me, you know what I mean?
And you can't even appreciate it because you ain't got the mental headspace,
exactly.
right? No,
so
but
it's just all about like trying to find a balance.
Right. Nah, I think that's amazing again, like I said, because I know for me, I got 2 boys. So like you said, like coming home every day, like it's nothing like when you come home, especially from being in the streets all day and grinding and rumbling with people and they nonsense.
Yeah,
because that's what they make their problems your problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when I come home and it's like, daddy,
yeah. You like
forget all that. We good.
Yeah. And that's how it should be, So I mean, I think it's evolving. It's constantly trying to figure out what that looks like. I don't think it's one way or the other, But like, I mean, like COVID, for example, it's been tough. Like her mom really was like holding it down. Like she had my daughter, like me and her split time 50-50. She had my daughter for like 2 months straight. Like I was working every day, but I'm like, all right, well, if I don't have my daughter, then I need to be out here all day, every day. Like it's no reason for me to be doing nothing else but like working, getting enough sleep and getting back up like first thing in the morning to get back to it.
Okay.
So it changes, but
I understand, but definitely, I know that feeling is like, if you could when you could be around your daughter, it give you another energy, like being around your kids, it give you another energy to be great every day, kind of.
Yeah, I feel like I gotta like, I mean, and that's kind of like where the rentals and things like that come into play. Like for me, for her and her situation, it's like my goal is ultimately to set up something that continues long after me. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out exactly what that structure looks like, but ultimately I want something that somebody can't like fuck up.
Right.
I don't want anything to be in any one person's hands where, like years after I'm gone, she doesn't have anything.
Right.
It's important for me to build it. It's important for me to build it in a way that's sustainable. So it's like for me, I'll like invest more now. Like all of my rehab, I mean, for the most part, my rentals are like things I treat them like rehabs. I put in all new systems, everything, and then now I'll figure out a way to structure it where those properties are being managed, and my daughter's able to be taken care of.
Got well. That's the dope thing about Baltimore. I mean, that's why like I'm more interested in Baltimore, especially now. Like Philly, the houses is ridiculous right now.
I
The
like Philly
prices.
a lot. It's one of my favorite places, man. I like it a lot. I mean, I don't know a ton about the real estate, but it's yeah, it's like
Just the city in general. You
I
love.
like the city a lot.
But it's like we like Baltimore food. Y'all like Philly food.
Yeah, yeah,
But I
yeah.
know now in Baltimore, like you said, you talk about auctions. I took a class learning about the auctions, and I can't really navigate the map down there per se, but I know like, I think between the hospital and the university, and then y'all got like some outskirts where it's rough, but then it get nice again. So it's like you said, $5,000 cribs. Like y'all
Yeah.
still got $5,000 cribs now, but it just might not be no other houses on the block.
Yeah, it's tough. See, like a buddy of mine, he plays those spaces a lot. I don't do it as much, and the reason being is because primarily I've been in fix, flip, and sell. So
Right.
it's one thing if it's one thing if I'm making an investment that's long term, and you know I'm thinking, hey, in 10 years, 15 years, this neighborhood may be something. So it's like, okay, I don't mind buying a house for 5,000, investing in it, waiting to see what happens to the neighborhood. But my strategy primarily is buy, fix, and sell. So I'm looking for something that's already stable. Like,
Okay.
if a neighborhood is not stable, I'm not expecting it to be stable in 6 months,
Right.
if I'm looking to sell. So, those are not necessarily the neighborhoods that I've been buying. And him and I went to go look at a couple houses the other day for to keep long term, and I'll probably invest in a few of them. Um, but like I said, for the thing is, just like you kind of got to know the lay of the land. It's like, I mean, I'll give you a prime example. Like some of my fix and flips, it's like invisible lines that the realtors know, everybody else knows. But I had I was selling the guy a property, and the appraiser just went with appraisals within whatever they use, like a mile. But a mile is not really accurate to the neighborhood that we're in. You got
Okay.
like 5 blocks. The realtors know that, like, when you cross the street, it's like a different neighborhood.
That ain't it, right?
Yeah, so that's the tricky part about Baltimore. But I do think there are some neighborhoods that have lower price homes where it's worth it, and then there's somewhere it's lower price homes, and the money you need to put into it to fix it up is not really worth what it's going to be once the house. If that makes sense.
I got you.
You know what I mean?
And so for you, how are you finding these deals? How are you able to navigate the waters? Being that you said like you're a contractor, you deal with wholesalers, you got a favorite realtor or somebody that you rely on.
I mean, that's kind of like my tough part. I'm not super social, so I get a lot of my stuff through realtors. One, and it sounds weird, but also I think some of it comes down to like neighborhood you're investing in, right? So let's just say in the neighborhood where I do a lot of renovations, it's a little higher end. So it's like most of the deals still come through realtors regardless. Like maybe they never hit the MLS, but a lot of times a realtor will get a call about a property, and then they're just going to call that rated investor to so that they can get the listing on the back end. So I think it's important to develop those relationships with realtors. I do like marketing. Like I have a virtual assistant in the Philippines all day. Is like
Oh, so
making
you
calls.
next level with the virtual assistant though.
Yeah, I mean, she does good though. Like I had one before who was fucking terrible. She wasn't really doing anything, but like she's a hustler. Like literally, I don't have to talk to her every day, and she's still gonna make
Do her
calls.
job.
Yeah,
So,
she's still
but the virtual assistant, what are you using her for?
just to talk to sellers. So what she'll do is, let's just say, I'll do like text blasts. So let's say I buy a list, and I like pull out zip codes.
Whoa,
I'll
whoa,
blast text.
wait, I'm getting my notes because you get text blasts and buying a list. Like you leaving out some gaps. Where?
So hold on. Let me walk this step by step. I ain't trying to leave out nothing. There ain't no secret. Let me just, all right. So my virtual assistant, pretty much is the first point of contact for me. And I mean, wholesalers have the system down a lot better than me. I'm a rehabber, but I just realized that like wholesalers, at some point when the market is good, it's like it's no real gap there for me to make money. In order to make money, I need to go direct to the seller. So
look, somebody said I've been trying it. I got a 1% success rate. They trying to listen to you to see what you're doing different.
all right. So this is what I do. So because dealing with wholesalers can be tough too, especially in good markets, right?
Oh, for sure. They try to make the numbers you making off the rehab.
See, I like the wholesalers that are new. Those are the ones you gotta get to. The ones that like they touching their first property and you can build a relationship with them.
Right.
And if you give a little bit and they get like they may want to learn about like construction or something, and maybe you give a little bit and they bring you a deal and whatever. You know, we try to be creative in this market because everybody is looking. But what I'll do with the text blast is like I use PropStream, right? So I'll use PropStream.
I'm just getting on PropStream. I've been listening to more Tony the Closer.
That's a good way to go. You can pull a lot more people than you can. You know, I was paying like List Source, but I think PropStream will pay $100 a month. List Source, one list I was probably paying more than anyway. I can look up comps and stuff from PropStream. It's a lot easier for me to do basic research on the property, but I'll keep asking my realtor to do this and do that and do this.
Right, or need 3-4 other things to get you. PropStream give you the contact information too, don't it?
You can skip trace there, but so I skip trace typically in the software that I'm using to do the text messages.
Okay.
Skip trace in that software. So what I'll do is I'll go to PropStream, like I'll put in whatever zip code and then you can filter it to make your criteria. I'll pull like let's say absentee owners and what have you. And then I'll transport that list. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, but the text messaging, what we use it for the text messaging?
I think that's the one I use is called. I pay like $250 a month. I want to say it's called like Launch Control.
You said $250 a month?
Yeah, I pay $250.
And what's it called?
I want to say Launch Control. I gotta double check that because I don't really use it like that. My VA normally uses it. I'll just get the list and then she like will take it from there.
Okay, Launch Control. I'm trying to see because I was on it. I interviewed with somebody else and they wrote it down. So I'm just trying to compare notes.
Yeah,
I'm gonna find out, y'all. Make sure, see if it's the same one. If not, we have more than one.
Yeah, let me know. But I think that's what it is. I'm pretty sure that's what it is actually. And it's weird. I went to a seminar and I met this dude, the dude that started that text. He was just starting it. Like we went to a seminar about real estate. Yeah, man, I'm starting the text message thing. He wholesales in Tampa. And he's like, yeah, man, check this out. I wasn't really, I never tried it. But it's cool. Like, so I've been using it. I guess I went out there like last summer. So I guess.
Okay.
So I will pull the list from PropStream. I put it into that. And then my virtual assistant will send out the list. She'll send out the text. And then she kind of just like gets the basic information. And then I'll follow up from there. But if it's good, then I'll go look at it. If it's not, then I don't.
I got you. But you feel like it's better to get the leads directly, like you said, and then now it's like, all right, I can control the deal and situation because you mess around, you keep it, or you turn around and wholesale it yourself to somebody.
Yeah, and I just, I wholesale here and there too. So, I mean, I think it's definitely a good way, but again, like as the market is changing and everybody's buying and people overpaying. I mean, I get it. If I was a wholesaler, I'll do the same damn thing. You're going to sell it to the highest bidder. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
So I would do the same thing. And it's hard because as rehabbers, the majority of my time is spent like, especially if you're like a GC. If you are GCing your own stuff, then the majority of your time is going to be spent on projects. Like, you don't have a lot of time to like market and stuff like that. And so I had tried a virtual assistant before, and I just had him cold calling, but I wasn't really doing too well with that. Mm-hmm. And then, like I said, when I was at that seminar and I met the dude, he was talking about text messaging, and his whole company was wholesale. He was doing good wholesale, and he was like, "No, try texting." But even now, I mean, like texting has become somewhat saturated, but I still do it. I
Yes, you.
because everybody's texting now too.
Okay.
You know, I mean, I think it just all moves in phases. Like now, texting has become more popular than direct mail, and then it'll probably just cycle again where direct mail will be more efficient than texting. You know, like because what happens is like now, like when we first went to the seminar, you could pretty much just send anybody a text. It wasn't very specific, but as like time goes on and more people complain about texting, then what'll happen is like the companies make adjustments, and so they'll block texts with a lot of words in there. So it becomes more difficult to like reach that prospect. They'll filter that as like spam, kind of like how like when you get a phone call and it says spam risk.
Right.
You know, so it's like I mean, they're making a lot of adjustments that a year ago didn't even exist. It was just like you just send a text message, but now it's like you can't put this word, you can't put that word. And
So,
they like sometimes I tell people like I got 10 messages today. Like stop texting my fucking phone. You know? But when I first started, it wasn't like that. But I mean, you still can get deals from it.
I got you. Okay. For the new people, I guess, like, do you feel like they should start out from the gate GC in their project, or should, you think they should hire somebody first, maybe, so they can learn what need to be done and then start GCing?
For new people, I think it's best to start off with somebody who can do most of the stuff. Like, so, I tell people, like, when you're starting off, I think you start off more cosmetic. Like something cosmetic being like not a $5,000 house with the roof all in, no floor joists, nothing like that. I think you start off with like a lighter renovation where maybe you need like a little bit of plumbing, a little bit of electric, a little bit of like HVAC, but maybe it already has ductwork. You
Like
know,
a solid grandmom house, old carpet,
huh?
like a solid grandmom house,
Yeah,
like old
exactly,
carpet.
exactly. So you do that, and then what it allows you to do is like have something where it's like a little less risk. So you maybe don't like floors, paint, kitchen, bathroom, stuff like that, but the house is kind of in order. And I said you hire a GC because realistically, it's like in order to be a GC, then you need to be able to put all those other moving parts together, and it takes some time to kind of build that team of like people who can do this, people who can do that. The only thing I do say, I tell people is like, to like if I'm using even one of my guys is GC that's been working with me for a while. Sometimes I do that, but what I'll do with even them is I'll be like, look, you can do this, all this other stuff, but I'm going to bring in my normal guys to do like the mechanicals. So like
Okay.
electrical HVAC, I don't let my guys do because like say you meet a GC, right? Works competitive. He wants a job. He's gonna tell you can do everything. Whether he can or he can't, he gonna be like, yeah, I can do plumbing, I can do electric, I can do, I can do it all.
Right.
And a lot of times they're gonna try to find somebody to do those trades, or even like somebody who works with them may do like a little plumbing, a little electric. But those things are so important that like even in rentals or what have you, or if I have like sometimes I'll have like one of my guys, I'll just be like, look, just do this house and I'll take care of the mechanicals.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with hiring a GC. I think it's good. I learned a lot from hiring a good GC and then just asking a bunch of, initial, and even having people to GC certain things. Like I'll GC certain projects and then I may find something that's more of a cosmetic. I'll give it to one of my guys and I'll let them do pretty much the whole project. But to say the mechanicals,
That's the critical part.
yeah, man, because the mechanicals are the part that most people don't really know how to do.
Okay.
Like a lot of people do, like they know they might have guys that do tile and drywall and paint and all that, but mechanicals can be kind of tricky.
Right.
So like just hire a licensed plumber, a licensed HVAC, a licensed electrician.
Right. And that's the part that gets you killed on a home inspection.
Yeah, I keep that stuff consistent. Like even my guys, my normal guys, I have them do my rentals, same thing. I mean,
Okay.
I probably pay a little bit more, but it's like, especially even from holding a rental, like I don't want a million calls about, the plumbing not working because whoever ran the pipes didn't run it right,
Right.
I just tell people make sure. I prefer to use like licensed people. Like your first few times out the gate, you want to pull permits at least. If you don't want to do it moving forward, that's on you. I still pull them, but pull permits, deal with people who licensed, and you know, I don't know. Contract is probably the hardest part, but for me, it's just like all of my guys. Like it's just I don't know. Maybe it's just like me personally, but I'm just a feel kind of person. Like it's all about relationship. So
Right.
I look for people who I feel like work well with me and work well with the kind of personalities that I have working for me.
Right. Headache free.
Yeah, it's like people. I mean, because like you taught to just like, oh, get 3 estimates. You know, hire the. I guess the middle person is typically what people say. But it's like for me, I need to talk to people. I want to know like what kind of person you are, like where are your morals, where are your values. Like if I'm not there and something's wrong and it's going to cost you a few dollars, will you fix it or will you try to go around?
Right.
So it's like I learned from my first experience is that yeah, I just work with good people. Like a lot of my guys, I mean, I work with them, but like if they cook out to something, they want to invite me or dinners or you know what I mean. It's like it's a relationship. It's not just I write them a check.
Right. Nah, so that's tough, man. I'm with you, but I had a bad experience just this past year, man. A couple of my main guys, man, I invited them to my wedding and everything.
What happened?
Them dudes went sideways on the last project.
Why? What happened to it?
I don't. Well, the project got finished. They just didn't finish.
I mean, what caused it? Like,
No, that's what I don't know to this day. They don't speak to me, no nothing. We didn't have a bad argument, no bad words.
Did it stop coming?
Yeah, like one just stopped coming, and one I will say I know what he wanted to do more work than I wanted him to do, but I was like, yo, I'll let you bid on it, but that don't mean you're getting it. Like you gonna stick. I'm gonna let you do windows, but I'm not letting you do.
Yeah.
Framing windows and the sheetrock. Like, no, because I know you gonna take too long.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Like, I'm with you. Like, I'm all about the family, but like I get sensitive and upset. Then when it goes south, it's like, oh, that's how we acting now.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, this is my thing. Like, even and I've learned this moving forward. Like from my first experience, right? And I hear this a lot. Not your story, but just a lot. Like people are like, oh man, I hired this contractor. They did this, that, and other, right? I'm like, I get it. Like I have empathy for you. I've been through it. I know what that shit feels like. Somebody just stopped showing up and they took your money, you know. But I always am like trying to find like some way to hold myself accountable in a situation and figure out like, well, what did I do that like, yeah, he burnt me. He took my money. But at the end of the day, it's like it's my fault because
I put myself in that position.
Number 2, I didn't structure it properly to make sure that he didn't get, you know, too far ahead of me where it made sense. It's like when things don't go wrong, it's a lesson there somewhere. It's like, you know, it typically is a lesson there somewhere. Something that I've like in my relationships in this business that I can pull out of that and be like, well, I did this, I shouldn't have did that. You know, I learned something from it. And your situation, I don't know what happened, but you know.
Well, luckily because of the other situations, I didn't get burnt with the money.
That's good.
It just was more so the work was unfinished because I was buying my own materials that I learned because of before. Like, yeah, like you said, like, so I'm buying materials. I front you a little money. Then like, no, you're not done yet. I'm not paying you until you're done.
I mean, the thing is that things, it happens that way sometimes. Like sometimes contractors have a shelf life. You know what I mean? Like I know that for
3-4 projects, right?
I mean, a lot of my guys have been years now.
Okay.
But, you know, I think that what happens sometimes with people is that, I don't know. I mean, people just, it's just natural sometimes that people, I don't want to say jealous, but sometimes relationships just run.
We just outgrow each other.
Yeah, you know, and I had that a lot. Not as much now, but like some of like the guys I worked with initially that knew me, or like I worked for them when I was hauling trash and stuff. It was like for them to come and work for me.
And now you hired them, they looking at you like.
Yeah. But a lot of my guys now, I will say, have probably been working with me for at least like 3 or 4 years. Like every now and again, I'll have to get a new trade or a new person in. But
it's not often, right?
Nah,
And
because
like you said, it
the
might not be
personalities
necessarily
work.
jealousy, but it could just whatever they got personally going on is blocking your growth.
Yeah, the
Right.
personalities work. That's what it is. It's like you want the numbers to work, but then once the numbers work, it's like you really have to. Like for me, I want to dig into like people's personalities. Uh, like the first guy I worked with, when I would work with them, he cussed at everybody every day. You know, like I don't want to do that. Like I don't
Right.
want to have to come and every day like I'm cussing somebody out and fucking them up. Like I want people. So if I had to describe a word I would look for in a contract, it's just that they passionate. Like they have to love what they do. Like I don't want somebody doing what they doing because they got to do it. Like
Right.
I
Because
want
they're in a situation. Right.
right. They love what they do, and then when I'm not there, they're gonna do what's right. They're gonna show up. They're gonna finish the job because they care about the outcome of it as much or more than they care about getting paid. And so I just focus on that. I just focus on people that just really like when I talk to you. If you're not talking about like your work as if it's something you care about, then it's not for
That's
me.
not for you. Right. Okay. Well, look, Big Al, we appreciate you, big homie, man. They gonna cut us off in a couple minutes. We good on time, but in a couple minutes they gonna cut us. But I just wanted to know, do you have any like recommendations again for people, like any like cool books that you say you read along the way to help keep you motivated or just inspired you in a business or just even with the balance we talked about of keeping you grounded?
Books. I don't know. I just read a bunch of business books. I mean, for me, I think that I mean, books are good, but I,
Or seminars, because you said you go to
I
seminars.
think that also for me is people. Like it's crazy because it's like wholesalers communicate all the time. Wholesalers always talk about JVing. Let's JV, let's JV, let's JV. They have those relationships, but like as rehabbers, we kind of get in this space where it's just us. So like what has helped me a lot is just like building like friendships with other people that do what I do. Because then when I'm having bad days and shit, it reminds me like I can talk to them and they like, I get it, like I mean, we can just relate. And so it's like, I might be having a bad day. My buddy's having a good day. You know what I mean? But it's just like somebody else who can literally understand what I'm going through. So I think that building relationships with people where it's like give and take, it's not just like one person giving, one person taking, but, you know, that's helped me a lot because,
Okay.
like my buddy who I'm building new construction next to him, like him and I talk. I mean, we talk about houses, but he having a rough day. I'm like, he'll call me early, like, hey, how's your day going, man? Everything going good? It's just how it is, and I think that those kind of relationships kind of help give me balance. As far as books, I don't know. I mean, I just
Hey,
read.
it's all right, man. I just always ask. Some people got books, but for
Yeah,
me, it's not necessarily the books; it's the people.
yeah.
That's how you find and get your inspiration, motivation, or even just keep you going when stuff get crazy. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, yeah. And my daughter, she keeps me grounded. She brings me back she reminds me like what's really important at the end of the day. I mean, don't get me wrong, work is important,
No, I
but
understand. But what
at
it's
the
really,
end
really
of the day, it's
about
like,
at the end of the day.
yeah, at the end of the day, it's like she brings me back down when I'm like, ugh, like the world is falling down. It's like I still got her. She's smiling, she
Right.
happy.
It ain't as
Everything
bad
else
as you
can
thought.
be, yeah, everything else can be fixed. I just wake up the next day like it's a
New
new day.
new opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, and for the people that don't know, where can they find you? What's your IG information?
Al rehabs houses.
No underscores, right?
Nah, I had to think about it. Al rehabs houses.
Okay. And then you got any events or any classes coming up in the near future? Hopefully, we get out of this COVID stuff sometime soon.
I mean, I'm sure Mark and I will do some stuff together, and I've been trying to put together something for like a year, but I've been like, I don't know, just in my own way with it. Honestly, like I'll just be in my own world doing my stuff, but I am because I know that like it's things that I know that I don't even think are important to people that could be valuable. So like I had this lady do a website for me, and she's been done pretty much, but it's just been me. But I'm a start it in about a month.
Okay.
It's gonna be a subscription site. It's gonna be cheap, like $25 or something a month, and I'm gonna do like coaching calls and post up like more content, like long.
Right.
I'll like set it up to where I'll have sections about specific topics like plumbing, electric, and pretty much I just want to be able to help people almost virtually.
So don't. I'm not cutting you off, but they're about to cut us off in like 3 seconds.
No, you good.
So, but definitely appreciate you though.
Not a problem.